All right, how's everybody doing? Um, I've made a little progress off stream. What I did, some of the problems I've been having earlier were that the geometry was just kind of crumbling underneath. Let's get rid of this, huh? Some of the geometry was crumbling underneath my pen strokes. So what I did was, what did I do? I retopologized it using Z-remesher, and then I projected the details of the original mesh onto the Z-remeshed version. So basically what happens when you Z-remesh, you lose a lot of detail. In order, as Z-remesher works, it optimizes everything for quads, and as it does, it smooths things over a little bit too much. And to rectify that, you project all the high detail onto the new Z-remeshed detail, and it moves the vertices up and down so that they more closely resemble what you had previously going in. So what I'm doing now, and I decided to stream now because things are going pretty smoothly in terms of being able to work the tablet pro buttons. However, I was doing this earlier, and then they were working, and then all of a sudden decided to stop working. So basically, that just turns everything from fun artistry to just a slog nightmare. And what have I been doing since then? So after that, I've been kind of redefining the facial features here. So I've been giving things more volume, digging out lines, extruding features here. So again, characteristic of the Japanese misconception of what a tiger looked like, in the 1700s or wherever. They have these weird Cheshire cat, and a lot of the illustrations from then are very comic or manga-like. So there's that I'm trying to incorporate, and basically they have these Cheshire cat-like eyes. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on the teeth. This is pretty much where I want it. This in here is not. I dug out some defining lines on the nose. I extruded this part of the nose. This, you'll remember I had problems getting this the way I wanted to. As Absorber Clan noted, it would have been fine, except that there were all these bumps kind of just appeared out of nowhere as I would draw out the clay tubes line, and I hadn't experienced that before to that degree. I think it was because of the underlying topology was a bit messed up. What I did here was basically I would use the clay tubes, smooth out some of the issues there, and then use H polish to better define the surface as flat there. So clay tubes, smoothing, H polish again and again until I got something reasonable. Obviously there's still issues here, and I might try to plow this down with trim dynamic and or H polish again, and I should probably do the same thing over here. And then basically this defines the white area that is above every tiger's eyes for whatever reason. It follows a rule. And then there's like these 3 black stripes there too, so those are going to be defined using basically the same technique. I think I'm gonna, just for stylistic effect, overlap this border. for now, I think I'm going to go back to working on the teeth until I get them to the point where they're not disgusting me. In the background, what you're hearing is a 3D printer. Do not be alarmed. Sorry if that gets annoying, but it can't be helped. I'm printing out little by little. Anytime I don't have anything like a pressing need to be printed, I'm going to try to print out R2D2. So I found an R2D2 on Thingiverse that you can print part by part. And ultimately what I want to do is, well, create an R2D2, remote controlled operated, and take it to the kids ward of Roswell, which is my cancer hospital. Actually, I've stopped going currently until I can find reliable transportation. It's just ridiculous how awful Medicaid cab services are. I know you shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth, but at the same time, after being completely bankrupted by cancer, the treatment and having to suffer through cancer, I think I'm within my rights to demand a minimum level of service and minimum level of dignity from the Medicaid transportation system. Just to give you a couple of anecdotes about how bad it is, after my BMT, they put me up at the Candlewood Suites, because the Candlewood Suites is kind of designated as the overflow for one of the other housing options. Post BMT, you need 24/7 surveillance is the wrong word, but somebody has to watch over you 24/7 because you're in such a compromised condition, immune suppression wise. So you have to go to a place where the people understand the cleanliness precautions and such that have to be observed. Candlewood Suites was one of those places. So, oh no, oh, there we go. All right, phew, I thought it was going to stop working already. So I'm at the Candlewood Suites. The Medicaid transportation is late, finally, like really late, like at least an hour or two, which is pretty much par for the course for Buffalo Transportation, who I was using at the same time. And so the guy called me. He's like, I can't find the place. Like, what do you mean you can't find the place? It's a hotel. It's got like 140 rooms or something. It's right across from the University of Buffalo's main entrance. He's like, I can't find the place. I'm like, we have satellites. Use the satellites. Let the satellites guide you. Ultimately, he did not find the place, and I wound up missing my very important appointment. Another time I had a guy, we're leaving a hospital that is near the Peace Bridge, which takes you into Canada. And somehow, he got turned around such that he got on the Peace Bridge and was heading for Canada. And halfway over the bridge, he did a U-turn. At that point, the GPS told him, he's like, it said, you are now approaching Canada or something, even though he was in the middle of a U-turn. So he was headed back to America, but because the GPS told him he was still headed to Canada, he got very confused. And I had to walk him through them. I like, well, which way did we come from? And he pointed just off center of where we were headed back to America. I'm like, okay. I'm like, also note that there's a huge sign that says, welcome to the United States. So I'm like, we're headed in the right direction. And I think he noticed a bit of sarcasm in my voice. He's like, it's my first day. I'm like, you still have to know where America is. Like, at the very least, you have to know where America is. Like, if you're pointed at America or if you're pointed at Canada. Like, if you're going to be a driver, you have to know the difference between the two countries, north and south, etc., etc. I remember watching a documentary. It used to be that cab drivers in London had to memorize all of London. Like, the test to be a cab driver was rigorous. And here these two guys couldn't find a giant hotel or America. So I've been having similar problems again with the Medicaid service, and I've just kind of given up. I'm taking an indefinite break from fighting with that. I'm currently fighting with SSD, some of the insurance companies, my wound dressing and my wound care provider. So, there's only so many people you can fight at one time. And so I'm taking a break from that, and unfortunately that entails taking a break from my treatment. So far I haven't noticed any ill effects, as long as I keep the biggest thing is, I'm these $1,000 procedures, but the biggest thing promoting my healing is keeping my legs up. Crazy, right? And we found out just before I was committing to having my legs amputated. Or my left leg. As the doctor from Arrested Development would say, he's going to be all right. Thank goodness, there's no other way to take that. Gotta tell you, that's not how I would take the news. What do you mean? He's lost his left leg. In this case, leg, not hand. So he's gonna be all right. This goddamn doctor. He's a very literal man. I've been watching season 5 of Arrested Development again, and it's better than I remember it. And I recommend anybody who... Oh, shift has gone out. I recommend anybody who was disappointed by it that they watch it a second time. I was disappointed, but only mildly. I mean, the worst episode of Arrested Development is better than most other shows. Like, their worst day is better than most shows' best day. For some reason, part of the problem was it just didn't seem as quotable, and I don't know why, because there are many quotable moments. A lot of times in like season 5 and season 4, the setup is a little bit more clunky and involved. They should have done more chicken dances. Oh, and shift has gone out again. And again, shift is out. And I'm having to press Alt 100 times. So I'm redrawing the lip there just because did undo take? Working on the gums are jutting out too far. Undo is lagging. I think I'm going to use clay tubes to try and better define these teeth as well. I'm not entirely sure it's working. I'm relying on smooth to kind of save the day here. And you know what, I'm going to turn off Lazy Mouse, kind of scrub in some volume. If you look at it at a distance, you kind of get an idea of how it'll look once it's smoothed out. And none of the Tablet Pro buttons are working here. You can maybe hear that I'm mashing the shift button, and it's just now registering. So this has gone from, you know, a pleasant artistic process to just an exercise in absolute frustration. Pounding the shift key. Okay, it went out once and then it went back on. And again, this is the sort of thing, what happened? This is the sort of thing that makes me question if I'm part of some sort of Truman Show like social experiment where I'm being messed with, because nothing seems to work. Okay, let's redo that. And we're going to go in here and try to get hard polish. Alright, we're gonna try to square this off and move the gums back a bit. I'm not sure why the geometry is completely collapsing there. It's probably going to work better if we come in there with a standard brush here. And we're saving. So we've kind of got a endgone going on there. Jesus. I watched a ZBrush video today. Hey, if you didn't know, ZBrush goes on sale anytime there's like a ZBrush summit. I did not know that. And so I did not save myself 20% off of $900. I wish I had known. I really wish I had known. But also during the summit, they detailed some updates to for 2021.5, I guess they're calling it, and they demonstrated Sculptress Pro, which I'm not familiar with, but I hope to become familiar with. Basically, it seems to be like a real-time, what do you call it? Real-time Dynamesh, which would be excellent. It would correct issues like that. There's no way around this right now other than to either Dynamesh or Z-remesh it as I did previously, and then project the details. But even then, I'm gonna, I've done that probably a dozen times, and each time you lose some amount of detail. So I'd like to avoid that, but I don't see any way around it. It's just gonna collapse under my pen. Although, maybe it's something I should save to the end. Because anything I sculpt there from there is going to be... Oh, wait, how many... Nope, I'm up all the levels. Is going to be, more detailed and looking kind of out of place. Why is that not registering? Okay. Maybe if I add and smooth, it will correct some of the geometry a little bit. All right, I think if I go in here with H polish, it'll do a good job of leveling this all out, despite the crazy geometry. Crazy because of the geometry. Absolutely insane because Tablet Pro doesn't always work. So that's pretty good. Going back to the old saw, progress is the enemy, or perfection is the enemy of progress. Not that I'm aiming for perfection or getting anywhere near it, but I have to move on from this, like today or tomorrow. Crazy because Tablet Pro is not working. Anytime you see me not doing anything for about 10 seconds, it means that I'm pounding on the Tablet Pro keys and they're not working. Fucking ridiculous. Hi, Zex. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm trying, despite all efforts to undermine my progress by Tablet Pro here. Geometry under here is completely collapsed. And this lip, well, you can see just how awful this is here. I don't know if I can rectify that. If I can, it would be via the inflate brush, I think. But then, I'm not getting in there good enough. The other thing I could do is smooth it out and then use the move tool. It seems pretty effective. Let's see what the geometry has to say. It's not super happy with it. Absorber Clan, how you doing? Good to see you again. I think I've reached the limits of what smooth can do here on this tooth, unless I go down a couple of divisions. And Tablet Pro not working again. Oh, there we go. Now let's go back up. It's starting to lag. Here's what I've accomplished so far today. Most of this was done off stream. So I'm trying to bring out some of the relief here in the face. That's no good. It's not great. Back to green metallic. And Tablet Pro is working again for some reason. Whoa. So trim dynamic messing things up there. There's these peaks, and I know part of the problem is the underlining geometry. Well, let's try shift. Let's try shift, but with a smaller brush size. Still not small enough. Maybe H polish with a smaller brush size. Let's try shift first. Or smooth, rather. They're synonymous. Synonymous. And we're in the middle of a autosave. All right, gotta do something about this top lip here. I'm gonna have to watch a Sculptress Pro tutorial. That is not working. No. Zoom out. It's starting to come together. I don't hate it, which is a good sign always. How long have I been streaming now? Bear with me. It's auto saving, and I'm checking on the stream to see how long we've gone. Not yet an hour and a half. Feels like a lot longer. Bear with me, I'm trying to juggle a couple of things here. Alright, I'm back to sculpting. It is 10:17. I think we're going to wrap up. Let's go all the way to 11. This one goes up to 11. No, trim dynamic. That's what I wanted. There's still not enough room between the lip and the teeth to accurately define the gums. And if I try to make the teeth recede into the background, the geometry gets kind of screwed up. I guess I can't really bring the lip forward because the canines have to overlap it. So, yeah. Could mask all this and just move everything back. See, what's going on here is I'm hitting Alt and expecting it to work, and it doesn't, and then I draw an additional mask. Then I gotta undo it. Now I gotta pound Alt until it's active. What the hell? Now it's not masking. It's a trim dynamic brush. So 30 seconds there wasted because Tablet Pro isn't working right. And, add that up. Every time I have to hit a button, Shift Alt, zoom in, 1, 3, copy or space, I lose at least 5 seconds. Another 5 seconds lost. Another 5-second loss. Another 5-second lost. Another 5 seconds lost. Another 5 seconds lost. Why? Five seconds lost there. If I hit home, will it not home in on the... Nope. It centers to the entire mesh, not to the stuff that's unmasked. What the... All right, good enough. It was a pretty good day. Slept late because there was no cramping. I suffer from like full body muscle cramping for whatever reason. I don't know if it's related to me drinking a 6 pack of Coke Zero each day or the medication I'm on or what. But it can be completely debilitating at times. Um, and of course, keeps me from sleeping most nights. But last night was good. I slept in, woke up, immediately went for a bike ride, and my killer Makeda Aero TI stands for titanium. And I say killer not just because in the sense of like 80s slang, it's awesome, but it's dangerous. Like it's engineered for one purpose, and that's to go fast around a racetrack. It's a pedigreed race winner. Um, but that kind of design doesn't take into account like when you have to make 45-degree turns in order to get in and out of a park. It only knows the racetrack. And so if you want to make a 45-degree turn, you're either going to hit your legs on the handlebar, your shins, in particular my shins, and flesh them. I say flesh them. Other people would say skin, but I have no skin on my shins, so I say flesh. You run the risk of flushing your shin, and or the wheel will hit your foot as you turn, and obviously throw you off balance and typically cause you to fall or nearly fall. But the design allows me to keep my feet up as I'm exercising, which is kind of trumps everything at this point. Spending way too much time on these teeth. Wow, this is actually working out nicely. I didn't expect it to be so successful. Oops, that wasn't successful. Undo is lagging more and more, I think. What am I doing? Pay attention. It's getting to the point where I should redo the geometry either through Dynamesh or Z-Remesher. So whenever smooth proves terribly ineffective, one thing you can do is drop down your division levels. There's fewer polygons. It's a little bit easier to manage. Obviously here the geometry is so far gone that it might just not work. Let's go down another level and see. Yeah, you can see how screwed up the geometry is here, just by virtue of the size difference. And you can see they terminate in like a n-gon, five-sided square, or star, excuse me. So the question is, do I Z-remesh or do I Dynamesh? At a distance, it's not too bad. I use a lot of clay tubes, and I think those are particularly, they're more responsible than most brushes for kind of screwing up the geometry. I'm gonna do the retopology stuff. I say retopology, Z-remesh and or Dynamesh. I'm gonna do all that off screen. What the hell just happened? Pressure sensitivity is not working all of a sudden. But why should anything work, really? Okay, back in business. Yeah, look at that. Look at how weirdly. Oh, trim dynamic is shift. Wish you could disable setting other brushes to shift, because it's not like, number one, it's not something I ever want to do. I always want the smooth button as, so all I'm ever doing is messing up. Messing up what brush I want to use. And as a consequence, my sculpt. Now that I'm getting better, these teeth here are something I could have done easily right the first time. It's always easier to do stuff right the first time, obviously, rather than repair and make a mistake and repair. I think if I were to sculpt this again from scratch, I would be able to do a much better job. It's weird to me that people can get their strokes so perfect without having to resort to going back over them with the shift button. I don't know how they do it. Okay, so there's some semblance of gums. All right, these teeth have to come back, or have to come out further. I think they need to be rotated forward too. Still not good enough. Better. All right, so what are we going to do here? We've only got about 10 minutes. That's about the time it's going to take to Z-remesh everything. So I'm going to start on that process. I don't recommend you sticking around for it, but I'm going to let it play out just so that we can hit that 11 o'clock mark. First, I'm going to save it. What's wrong? Why is it not letting me? What the hell is wrong? Oh, Altus. I should have left half engaged. I think it kind of does its own thing, though, anyways, in terms of reducing the poly count or just coming up with whatever poly count it wants. But if I halved it, then that would be a starting point for subdividing it and then projecting. Yeah. Just running down the clock now. All right, I'll be back. Just, I mean, there's not going to be more to the stream than just winding this down.